Welcome back.
We're the Pair of Dinks.
Yep.
I'm Jake.
I'm Chantel. Who am I really?
Who am I? No, this podcast isn't about that.
No, that's deep.
Yeah, we're not deep.
I don't know about that. But anywho, hope y'all are having a good wherever you are. We've been experiencing some funny weather here in Calgary this 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Pretty much all of June.
Yeah, I'm getting really uncomfortable because last year was not like this in June, but we've been having like thunderstorms, rain, nastiness.
And like really intense rain.
Yeah. So today was our friend Brad was saying that, what was he saying? That it was like the best thunderstorm we've had in a really long time here in Calgary.
Yeah, I mean, I would use the word best.
I mean, yeah, It was aggressive. It was actually a little bit scary because it felt like it was right on top of us.
Yeah, it had those loud crocows. Like,
yeah.
And then the power went off for a second.
Yeah.
That's the best.
So the thing that's frustrating me a little bit is the whiplash. And I've said this a lot with Calgary weather. Whiplash for real, because during my work day, it's hot as fuck and it's sunny and beautiful. I'm working inside and this and that. And then I get home and then we have these crazy overcast thunderstorms, rain. And so it's like, great, you were working today. I was beautiful. And then you get home, you're not allowed to, you can't leave. You can't go back outside. You can't do any like fun outdoor activities because I'm just going to piss on you now. And then when it's about bedtime, like it's 8:30 right now. I know it's not bedtime, but it's late. It's close to bedtime. It's all like fucking sunny and beautiful again. What is up with that?
I know. It's being a real prick.
I really struggle with that. Because I'm like, during the day, I'm like, what are some things we can go do? We can go down to the park, bring the Suey game again, go for a walk, and then no.
Yeah.
And now it's at the time where it's like, I'm not leaving the house.
Exactly.
Right? I'm in my comfies.
I mean, we could always wander down to the park, but also everything's soaked now. So
yeah.
What do you really want to do? Can do? Want to like wipe down from...
Yeah, what if it changes? Like, it can change so fast. Luckily, the park is really close, but...
Yeah. No, I have to... the truck's not running right now, so I'm getting everywhere by transit or bicycle. And I'm making the same calculations because it's not always the same time. Sometimes it's been in the middle of the afternoon when you're still at work. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking out and I see these dark clouds and it's like, can I make it down there and back in time? Do I have half an hour? Do I have an hour?
The nice thing is the places that you've been going, you haven't necessarily had to go. You're just picking up stuff to complete some projects around here. So, I mean, like, I could always go and get it, but.
Yeah, but it makes it happen quicker. And I have the time in the middle of the day.
Totally.
So
I can understand it being like, I want to go and get the stuff. But, what am I going to get stuck in?
Yeah. And it's trying to time it with a break in your work.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those funny things. I've been working from home a lot right now, mostly doing editing and prepping for a shoot. So, you're kind of on your own schedule, but also client demands pop up and things happen, or suddenly you got to schedule new meetings or someone gets busy. So you got to respond to something and you're trying to time it with, is now a good time to go? Like on top of the weather? Does it also seem like, okay, if I go now, I still have enough time later if someone has a request come in? So.
Right. But I had a question for you. I'm curious about your thoughts because I was watching this movie and, okay, so what happened? So there's this couple in this movie and they're dating and all's well. And anyways, later at some point, they go to this this like cosplay event where they win are winners of the chance to go through this really cool escape room with other people. And so this couple, this guy is really into cosplay. He brings his girlfriend along. And when they win the escape room experience with these other folks that are like hosts of some horror, whatever. I don't really know exactly. I can't remember. The movie was terrible, but this sparked a question. They go to this escape room, and the guy is chatting with this host of a show, and they're both into the same things, like horror and whatnot. So they're like getting on very well. They're having great conversation, just like bantering back and forth. And then, fuck, what happened? Nothing really special happens, but the girl of the couple gets really mad at him for quotation marks flirting with this host because they're having good they have similarities in things that they like, and they're having great banter and whatnot. And my question was, how would you feel how would you feel about that? Like if I met somebody who I have similarities with or the same interests and stuff, and we just start a conversation and we're chit-chatting and we're like having a good time just talking, like nothing bad or whatever. I don't really know how to explain it. Would you be jealous, I guess? Would you just freak out and be jealous? Is that the right way to ask that question? I'm just trying to like frame the situation.
Yeah. I understand the way you're framing it from the perspective of the film, where it sounds like that character flipped out.
Yeah. Looking as an
don't-
outsider
Mm-hmm.
into this.
Yeah. No, I understand that. But I also don't see you flipping out, because you're not a flip out
I meant you.
type of reaction.
Like if it were me.
If you were doing that, would I flip out in jealousy?
Well, yeah, like
Or
how
if
would
I
you
thought
feel?
you were-
Just yeah.
Yeah,
What I know it's hard to say because neither of us have been in that kind of position in our relationship
Mm-hmm.
where we've ever felt like that. Sorry, I stopped because I'm like, yeah, because we have a healthy relationship. But I just I'm curious how it gets there.
Yeah.
And do you think with us, like, you would ever feel like that? I know you can't say exactly.
I could speak about for us, at least from the perspective of when I first saw your images, like when you reached out to model. And so I saw your pictures, but I can't speak of that from a perspective of jealousy, because what I saw was beauty in someone willing to just express themselves. So I guess maybe to sort of roundabout this back toward your original question about if you were being, I don't know, friendly out there with someone, like making somebody feel good in a conversation you were having together. That's something I really admire and find beautiful about you. Like the fact that you and I can just sit around and have conversations, share in things that we love, and make each other feel good. And that's, to me, is just one part of a relationship, because you have friendships and family and other types of relationships in your life that give you those same kinds of feelings. And so I think a friendship should allow you to, be fully yourself and to make someone else feel good and share a common love for something that you both love in the world.
I don't think you
Did I ramble
answered
too much?
my question at all,
Okay.
or didn't understand it or something. But so I'll just give you an example. So with my ex, we years and years ago, we went to a wedding of a friend of mine, and it was in Kelowna, and we go to this wedding. We're having a great time. We're at the same table as one of the MCs. I have to call him a ginger, and there's nothing against gingers. I love gingers. I love red hair. But anyways, so he was at our table, and he had opened so many doors to just like poke a little fun at him.
Mhm.
Like, we're all making jokes at the table. We're all poking a little bit of fun. Like, we're all together. I'm with my partner. I'm with the whole table of people. And I've had a couple to drink. I'm literally right across from this guy. And we're all just jumping in, bantering, poking fun. And I didn't know, but he was getting mad. My partner was getting mad at that time. I was like, thankfully I had a friend with me at that table too. So I was spending a lot of time talking to her. And later on in the night, he just disappears. I'm like, what the hell? Well, actually, I didn't even notice. I was having a good time. I was drinking. I was dancing. It was a wedding. What else do you do? And anyways, he had left to go back to my parents' house to grab all of our shit. And we were living in Vancouver at the time. So he went back to the Oyama, grabbed all of our shit, came back to Kelowna, picked me up. It's like midnight or something, and drove us back to Vancouver. And I'm pissed off. I don't know why we're leaving. I crawl in the back seat and I sleep the whole ride because it's like 4 hours. Why are we leaving Kelowna in the middle of the night for a 4-hour drive home? I had no idea. And then I find out the next day, I think he probably told me, but then my mom also told me that he was jealous. He was jealous that I was part of a conversation that was like just poking some fun at this guy that I don't even know. I don't even know his name. I don't even remember his name. And I hadn't talked to him at all outside of our table. We weren't never interacting alone. Like, so confusing. And I guess that's where I'm like, I'm curious about how you might react, or how I would react with you, kind of thing, when it comes to jealousy. I guess the topic is just jealousy.
Mhm.
And I was really fucking pissed off because that was not happening. And honestly, anytime that he would have somebody hit on him, which was rare because he rarely went out, he would tell me, and I loved it. I loved that he got attention. I loved that somebody was interested and curious. And you could just get to know somebody new or whatever. Like, it was super innocent. I loved it because it made him feel good, because he told me. It made him feel good. He didn't tell me it made him feel good, but he told me about what happened, and that made me understand that it made him feel good.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you know what? I fucking love that, because somebody's interested in the person that I'm with. But as long as like that person doesn't, do anything about it in a bad way or a non-loyal way,
Yeah.
no problem. I love that. So I just want to know what you thought. Have you experienced many scenarios where you've felt like that?
Felt jealousy?
Jealousy, yeah.
Yeah. I will say my experience with jealousy is juvenile and limited, because I was pretty much single through my 20s. So
Yeah, so we
I
can
don't
definitely dive
great
in on a
experience.
lot of teenage jealousy, but I would like to hear what you have to say.
yeah. But in terms of right now,
No, I mean, tell us.
Or you mean like,
Tell
well, I
us.
mean, answering from who I am today
Okay.
and how I would handle jealousy. I think how I look at jealousy today is more introspective than it is outward. Because, like you said, when somebody compliments you, like, and I mean you as my partner, that makes me feel good. It's another validation of, oh my God, someone else can see the beauty and the life that I see in this other person that I love being with.
Yeah.
And that's what I see from my mind today. So if I was to see you in a situation where I feel you're flirty or someone else is being flirty with you, even if you're not playing into it, if I felt any jealousy in that moment, it would make me want to look a little more inward, because I believe a lot of jealousies that we express outward have nothing to do with the situation we observe, and they have more to do with some like
Insecurity?
unexpressed, an insecurity or an unexpressed emotion that we're feeling inside.
Yeah.
So even if I wasn't insecure about anything with me, but maybe it was an insecurity about the relationship or some kind of a emotion I've been harboring, that could come out in a jealous moment where it has nothing to do with what's happening,
Yeah.
because you're not doing anything wrong. You're being friendly with another person. Like,
Yeah.
so it would, I think that's how I see it in my mind today.
Yeah. So, shoot, I lost my thought.
Oh, no.
My
Get it back.
My train's derailed.
Get the magnet. Where's the fishing rod? Throw it out. Get it back.
Yeah, no, I mean, have certainly been extremely jealous in the past, and like my jealousy has expanded in many different ways. When it comes to like things that people have or things that people can do, and
Oh yeah.
whatnot. But and then, you know, being the unwanted one out of, say, a group of friends where somebody prefers this person and not you, and not understanding. But what I know as an adult is that how are we supposed to relate to other people and create conversation and friendship if you don't have like a conversation, like if you don't sit and chat and like boy girl, girl boy, girl girl, boy boy, like whatever. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel kind of bad for saying that right now. I feel like I need to step back for anybody talking to anybody. Okay.
They and them.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of us.
Yep.
All of us. It's just like there is a line between flirting for malicious intent or flirting in like the most innocent way possible. And because flirting can be as simple as, oh, you like photography? I like photography. What do you like to do? Like, flirting is such a broad word. You know, I feel like when people say flirting, now that this is just sort of coming to me at the moment, flirting is kind of a taboo word a little bit. Flirting is kind of a bad word. Flirting's a bad word when you're in a relationship. You know what? I think I learned this from my mom, and that's why I haven't really felt bad, because I never, if I'm in a relationship, I don't the only way I can explain it is like sexually flirt. It's just curiosity and innocent flirting. But you know what I used to do all the time, because with my ex, I used to go out all the time without him because he was always busy. I was always out. I was with people, but I would always be the one sitting at a table. And I would have all these people come and sit with me and talk to me. And I would always say something about my partner. I would say, I'm in a relationship. Somehow it would come out, and then they would ditch me.
Mhm.
They would fuck off, and then I'd be sitting there. I used to actually go to the bar with a yo-yo, because I would go with
No
one
way.
of my best friends, and he was like a chatterbox and would go make friends everywhere, and I'd be sitting there and shy, and then people would come, we'd chat, and it could be considered flirting to some people because there's like these two. Man, this is actually kind of hard to say. Like, in my situation, it was me and another man, and they would sit down and they would talk to me. And then when they found out I was in a relationship, they would go away. But we'd be like having innocent, flirty conversation. Like, I think when it comes to being like touchy or leaning in too much, or, never saying anything about the person you're with, like, that can be malicious. That can be not a good sign, because you're setting someone up for an unrealistic outcome in a way. But I guess what bothered me about that movie is, like, there was this guy, there was nothing about what he was doing that was bad.
Yeah.
I need another word better than bad, but I'm like struggling finding that word. Nothing that implicated he did not want to be with his person. He was just like so excited about what was happening, and that he could talk to somebody who knew what was going on, and somebody who was interested and knew all those things that he knew, because he had somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
You never know everything about your partner and what they love.
Mhm.
And they have to have someone else to be able to talk to about those things with, right?
Yeah. Well,
So who am I to break that up and be like, hey, you're not allowed to talk to each other because I'm jealous.
yeah. And my point I was taking onto that was that you're not going to always share 100% of the same interests with your partner.
Yep.
It's like, as much as I love photography, or as much as I love guitar, or as much as I love our cats, or as much as I love gardening, like, we're going to have varying levels, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you're going to love listening to some of my guitar, but are you going to love it in the same sense that you'll strike up a conversation with someone about types of guitars and music for an hour? Like, it's a different level of love there. And it doesn't mean that I don't feel you appreciate my love for that, or that we can't talk about it. I just understand that's something we don't have a deep interest in together.
Other people know things more than I do. And who am I to pull you away from like such a great conversation? Maybe something you're learning too.
Exactly.
And then be like, hey, me.
Mm-hmm.
Me. Hey, do you remember me?
Yeah.
Like, why would I forget that you, or why would I think that you would forget me?
Mm-hmm. Especially if the conversation is relating to that. And it again makes me look inward if I feel like my intentions, or not my intentions, but if my read of the situation goes toward jealousy, it makes me look inside and say, okay, where does that come from? Is there something in our relationship that I feel like I'm not serving at my best? Like, am I not showing up and doing enough in something? Am I maybe not expressing something I've been holding inside of me? Like, that's where it shifts my thinking.
Also, that is a great point, and it also goes on to that person who is talking to that other person, where, as what I have witnessed with a lot of other people who actually like dive into a I can't make words right now. So, I mean, a bad flirtation, a flirtation that is beyond just a conversation.
Should we call it adulterous flirtation?
An adulterous flirtation, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Where it's that person should be considering, what are they missing that they should be talking to their partner about, and seeing if they can work it out. Because if it goes beyond and then it becomes I don't know, an affair in some sort of way like that, that's beyond. That's just a whole other conversation. But sometimes that kind of works that way. But if you go back to one of our episodes when it came to us meeting, and I was engaged with somebody else, right? And when we were talking, it didn't matter. I felt so connected to you. I wanted to talk to you all the time. But we were very holy fuck. Somebody bring me a dictionary. We were respectful. There was that the flirting we're kind of talking about, where it's very innocent. You knew immediately the very first time we spoke that I had an fiance and all of that stuff. We didn't pursue anything at the time, and it was all very gentle. It was nothing. And I guess that's the type of flirtation that I'm kind of talking about, I guess. And maybe it's different in this situation but that's like a whole other story. And if you go back to episode whatever, you can hear about how that happened. But did I fuck that up?
Nope. We talked about it.
Yeah, but no, I fuck up this episode by saying, oh yeah, flirtation is harmless. Now we're together.
No, because I think what we're talking about is something different where like I know my approach to those kinds of emotions or looking at those kinds of signs, it could easily lead to me getting duped, right? Because it requires extending a lot of trust and to trusting that if somebody says or goes out there and is like, hey, no, this is all it is. Like, we share these things in common and this is what we're doing. And it's like, okay. My basic philosophy on anything with judging somebody is judging them by their actions. And it's like, do your actions line up with your words? So I'm like, if you say I'm only going out and I'm doing this and we're meeting up and talking about that and whatever, like, I don't really care what it is. If you did what you said, great. And like, the only thing is when it's different. And if you're like, no, this is all it is. We're going to get pizza together, but you're like fucking in the car in the alley. Like, that's a totally different
of course
scenario.
That's not even, that's beyond jealousy. That's not.
Yeah. So what I see is more like, yeah, do I allow my jealous thoughts to, make me make artificial judgments? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, of course they pop up, but do I act on them? Do I believe them? No, because I'm going to trust somebody and go by their word until I'm proven otherwise by action, not by word or rumor.
Do you know what I love? I guess I used to love. It doesn't happen anymore. Sorry, just how old am I? Is it because I'm getting older? But when Candace and I used to go to the Foggy Dew, and we used to go like every weekend, it was this nice, funny, hilarious, like giant bar club thing that had like a dance floor with a DJ, but on the other side it sort of had seating and a pool table. Anyways,
was this in Maple Ridge?
It was in Coquitlam.
Okay.
It's now something else, but
the Foggy
like
Dew.
we would go dance and people would flirt and they'd talk to you and I'd be like, no, or I'd always be the one to be like, get away from my friend. You're not okay. Or pulling my friends off of boys because they're dating somebody else and they shouldn't be touching other boys. Like, don't do that. There was a man, I think he was I'm just going to say I think he was a busker. Buster? Bus boy.
Busker? Okay,
bus boy.
Yeah. Buskers
he was
play
like
guitars on the street for
I know.
coins.
He was a bus boy, but he was flirting with everybody. And we just made friends because we were there And then one time he tried to kiss me and I was like,
Oh.
I put my hand in his face and I was like, get away. There's been nothing, no indication for you to be doing that. Why would you do that? And then I like pushed his face over to Candace. I'm like, she's single. And Candace was like, no. She was also down here and he was way to this guy.
That's hysterical. But I'm not gonna lie, like, man, dudes will shoot their shot. Like, I don't know. It happens in the weirdest ways.
I appreciate that. You know what? Also, when it came to the Foggy Dew, there were so many creeps. People would surround you. Nobody asks you to dance anymore. They just grab you. And I am what do you call it? Oh, okay. Do you know how they call it? What do they call it? Helicopter parents?
Yeah.
I was just a helicopter
friend.
Yeah, helicopter friend. So I would like fling my arms out when people would come near because they would be so aggressive and it's not okay for you to just grab people. But there were a handful of times where people would ask if they could dance with me. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, but you can dance with our group. And we would just, dance in the group like you do. No touching.
And they went along with it?
Hell yeah. Well, awesome. I asked them. I said, I told them, no, I don't want to dance with you one-on-one, but you can dance with us. Yeah. So no touching, know, because when it's a one-on-one, But
I just mean people accepted that. They were like, right on. Sure.
Only like one or two people.
Okay. But still some did.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's when I'm like, if you're going to be respectful of me, then yes, I'm going to offer you this alternative. Yeah. And if you just want to have a good time and you just want to dance with some girls without being a disgusting man or a person, whatever, then that's great. Like, please join our group. Be fun. Don't be gross. I have no problem with that. Like, come on in. But if you're just grabbing me and I don't even know your name or like, anyway, it's bad. Yeah. But do you have a story from your teenage jealousy time that you want to share? Since you haven't been jealous at all since we got together.
Since we got together. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Because I pretty much had one girlfriend through high school. And we were together the whole time. And I remember a lot of feelings of inadequacy throughout that relationship, which of course would come through as little jealous outbursts or moments. There's no one particular moment that comes to mind.
Well, who was this girl? Like,
well, I would say, sorry, we were together for a long time. After high school, we broke up for a little bit, spent some time apart, but then got back together and then broke apart. And it was in that in between time, I remember feeling a lot of jealousy because she was quickly out seeing other people. But the main, I think, driver of that inadequacy was because she had dated my best friend through the end of middle school or early high school there. And they had a lot of history together. And then her and I got together afterwards. And I had always equated this concept that the amount of time you have known somebody is equal to how well you know somebody. So I think a lot of that inadequacy came from knowing she had known my best friend for a lot longer. So therefore thinking they knew each other a lot better. But realizing that's not true at all.
So you were
much
just
later
worried that, hey, this is a new relationship and she's still friends with this ex. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's still friends with this ex. And, they obviously have great conversation and banter because they've known each other for a long time, and you think that she could be compromised because they have a history. Yet, what did you come to realize?
That the time doesn't matter.
Just because somebody had been with somebody for a long time doesn't mean they know them better than you do now.
Yep. It made me realize that someone's willingness to be honest and open with you is much more indicative of your ability to get to know them deeply.
Absolutely.
Because you could know someone for 40 years, but if they're not honest with you, you don't know them.
Well, and everybody's different in relationships and people change and stuff, but that speaks volumes to me and you, because in my last relationship, we were not honest. We weren't honest. We weren't honest about how we felt about anything. And we were just going with the flow. But because we had been friends since we were 14, so we had been friends for 10 years before we got together, and then we were together for 8 years. You think you know somebody? People change, and depending on the situation of a relationship too, if it's going good or it's going bad, like, or if you don't feel like you can be completely honest, like I never felt like I could be completely honest. There's things that we do or I do or we say and I say in this relationship that is 1,000% different from that past relationship. But what I know is because when I left that other relationship, I said I was not going into this fake, I guess. I need to be 100% authentic, because if I'm not, I am not fulfilled as an individual person. And there can be times where I feel like I don't want to tell you something because I don't want you to judge me. And then I'm like, fuck that. I need to tell you because it's the only way that makes me feel good. If I don't tell you, then I'm swimming through a sea of despair. Like I'm hurting. And then it's setting up exactly what I had with my ex, a barrier, a pretend. So anyways, jealousy.
No, and that's, I think, completely what I was expressing in my initial reactions. Like, if someone's jealous, it speaks more to whatever they're not putting forth. And that's what I had realized in that relationship too, was that I wasn't honest with those feelings. And I also didn't transform them into expressions of love.
Yeah.
They come from a generous place.
Yeah.
You know, like even today, I was, struggling to think, what should I make for dinner? What should we do to eat? And feeling for a minute like, oh, I don't want to deal with this problem today. Like I don't want to deal with the dinner problem today again. But flipping the tables for a second and remembering, okay, but what does it feel like to come home and there's food ready for you and like the house smells great and there's someone smiling and there's cats like running to the door to greet you, like, right, that's what it's about. It doesn't have anything to do with what I want to do or not want to do. It doesn't matter how fancy or how stupid the dinner could be. It could be as simple as I toasted some buns. Like, it wouldn't matter what that is. It's the act of doing something that says, hey, like,
Thought
I
about
see
you.
you. I love you. I thought about you. I'm preparing something for you.
I hope you know
And
that I don't expect it, and I'm trying really hard to pitch in when I get home. And because, well, before it was always me. It was me. Everything was me. Like, I had to clean, I had to cook, I had everything had to be done by me. So I am extremely appreciative of you and the thought. And when that's why I ask you all the time, I'm like, are you okay? Like, is this okay? Because I don't want you to feel like how I felt. Like, I felt like I had to, or this person wasn't going to eat and they would be sad, or they'd be upset, or they wouldn't eat. And it's like, it's just taking care of the people you love.
mhm.
And, but I want to be able to pitch in as well. I want to be able to do what I can when I can. And so yeah, it's a partnership. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
And that's why I ask all the time, like, is this okay? Because if it becomes not okay, you need to tell me.
Mhm.
I won't know otherwise. And I don't want you to get to a point where you're resentful of having to do these things because you don't. You don't.
Mhm.
We can do these things.
Yeah.
Communication is the key to this conversation. This is all that we want.
Exactly. And that's why I think jealousies come up, is when you can't communicate something,
Totally.
you know? And that's kind of the sum of it for me. Like,
I'll tell you about a different kind of jealousy that I've had.
ooh,
It doesn't
Let's
have to
go.
do with relationship, but I've told you this before. I have been always so severely jealous about actors.
hmm.
And I think a lot of people go through this, especially in our age, our era, everybody after us, maybe a few before us, because it's so out there. But I had been so kind of like sickly, feeling like I needed to act, but on the same token, feeling sick about acting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? Like, it's so hard to go in front of people. It's scary as fuck and judgmental and all that stuff. That kind of seeped into everything, but I've been so not now. I used to be so jealous of actors and people that had a presence, and it wasn't okay, I'll think about two different things. So when as an adult, sometime in my 20s, I was like, you know what? I was drunk or something, and I was like, you know what? I think I just probably was an actor in my past life or a past life, and it's just sort of seeping in through this life, because there is no goddamn way I could be an actor. I am not an actor. I'm a still photo. I can model, but I can't act.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could try to act, and I could like help you out if you needed a side person, but I can't act. I just can't. And so that was something that I struggled with a lot growing up, was the acting jealousy. And I'm sure so many people feel that.
It looks
Sickness.
easy from the outside.
It's not. Hey, I can't cry on command. I can't even cry.
Forget the crying. Remembering what you did and what you said.
But I used to have the best
in a
memory ever.
systematic order.
I used to have the best memory, and then I fucked it up.
Well, I just mean from my perspective of the props world.
Oh, okay.
And even remembering, so an actor would have to say a line, take a sip of tea, say a line, take a sip of tea. Like whatever they did, like however it was recorded, you also have to remember, like, okay, I say this line, I take a sip.
Yeah.
I say a line, I take a sip. But you also have to remember how you're delivering those lines, what's going on. Like once I started watching that actors also have to remember every little thing that they did along the way, it was like, oh, this is actually a lot more complicated. Like, forget the words. Like, you can memorize words. Cool. But remembering when you said them, how you said them, and like being on your mark, and especially if you're doing it for film where there's a camera and there's a focus puller, and like if you're not on that exact spot, you're out of focus, and the director probably gets pissed off and he yells at the camera guy, but like really it was your fault because you were a little off. But like you're not gonna say anything because you're just like, oh well, I'll let that guy take the fall. Like,
oh, terrible. Yeah, this doesn't sound fun at all.
No, I'm like, there's so much more to it after watching it that has given me so much more respect for the acting profession. I'm like, oh my God, it's so much more than just being that character, remembering some words. Like, there's a lot of technical shit.
I think what it is I wish that I could tap in to different emotions naturally. Or, it's not natural when they're acting. I wish I could just tap into emotions. But I'm not going to lie. Like, I find myself these days, what was I watching? Oh my God. I can't even tell you what I was watching. It could have been a commercial on Tubi or something. Where oh no, it was Jane the Virgin. I was watching Jane the Virgin. And I'm like tearing up, but I think it's just getting older. And I'm like, why the fuck is this making me cry? Honestly.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that stupid shit's making me cry.
It's okay. Real world shit can make you cry. Maybe a cat
scooping her own litter box. Oh my God. That's terrible. Although, that's funny. I never thought about it before, but I clean people's toilets and I clean my cat's litter box. It's about the same. Shit. It's just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. But anyhows, so that's my thoughts on jealousy. Huh?
Are you done?
I think so.
Yeah,
Are you done?
Seem done.
Yeah.
You're done.
It's pretty much all I have to say on jealousy.
Yeah, it's late. And it's
at least for now.
Well, yeah, let's start talking jealousy, but let us know what you think because it's such a controversial conversation. And all I know is that if you have a connection with somebody that you're with, you will still respect them, but you're allowed to have conversations with other people. You're allowed to bond with other people. Just be respectful. And if you can't be respectful because you don't want to be with that person, then fucking end it. And then fuck that other person. I don't know. Like, come on, just be good.
It's true. Be good.
Just be
Love
good.
one another. All right, thanks.
Bye.
We'll hear from you next week. No, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you because nobody talks to us.
All right.